Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Netgear. Today's host is our very good friend, Mr. Jordan Cooper, who is the Strategic Account Manager, and he takes care of us here at Microcom, and he's presenting today. If anyone has any questions, of course, please feel free to submit them in the question box so that Jordan will be able to answer them at the end of today's presentation. Thank you so much for being with us. We're all looking forward to seeing what you have. Appreciate all of your time today. I am finished for now, so go ahead and please take it on over.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks so much, Julie, and good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and take a look at what Netgear has to offer. And I've done quite a few of these presentations, but I'm really excited to do this specific one because we're actually going to be talking about something totally new and totally brand new to Microcom and basically new to a lot of people out here. So as Julie said, I'm the key strategic account manager and I manage Microcom. So while I am in sales and an account manager, I'm pretty technical, but I am definitely no engineer by any means. So just keep that in mind as it comes time to asking the questions towards the end. If you've been to one of my presentations before, you know I like to kind of follow a similar suit across the board. I like to first talk about the Netgear difference. And as you'll see as I go on with these presentations, I'm a firm believer in death by PowerPoint, and we're not going to make that happen today. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of these slides and not necessarily talk and read everything on the screen, and everyone can read here. But the things that Netgear wants to be, whenever we're going to be releasing a product or we have a product, we always strive to do three things that we want to be different than the competitors. We always want to be reliable, affordable, and easy to use. And so usually when Netgear is being considered, it's going to be one of these three things of what differentiates us from a competitor. Right? There are competitors out there that we feel have one or even two of these, but very, very few can say that they have all three, in which Netgear, of course, prides ourselves that that's exactly what we want to be. Reliable with the lifetime warranties, affordable, being a third of the cost of your traditional big tier one brands, keep it that way, and then easy to use. You don't need any crazy certifications. It's just stuff that works and it's very simple. And when it's easy to use, we know it saves time, and when it saves time, it saves money. We're going to be talking about the Orbi, but before we really dive into Orbi, I wanted to talk really quick about Wi-Fi 7 because to understand how great the Orbi is, it's important to understand also the technology behind it when it comes time to Wi-Fi 7. Now, this is some amazing things that are happening with Wi-Fi 7 and just with the whole industry as a whole. What we're starting to see, as there's a lot to read on here, but in summary, the demand for Wi-Fi and the demand for fast, secure wireless internet has never been greater. And guys, it just keeps increasing. More and more devices are connected to a network more than ever before, and more of those devices are high data drawing devices. And especially as we're introducing newer technology, AI stuff's coming in. And so when you're looking at replacing and putting in new wireless, you really should be looking at Wi-Fi 7. And a lot of question that we get and a lot of maybe feedback we get, or a lot of people say is, is there really a need for Wi-Fi 7 right now? Is the demand there? And here's some numbers to just kind of spit at you. It's estimated that last year, over 233 million Wi-Fi 7 devices entered the market. And so that's going to be your cell phones and laptops and routers and things that are able to use Wi-Fi 7. 233 million last year. The drop in the bucket, but if that doesn't shock you, this number should. It's anticipated that number will grow, guys, to 2.1 billion. That's with a B, billion by 2028. And not to maybe scare anybody, but guys, that's about 2.5 years away from where we are today. So when people ask, well, is Wi-Fi 7 really needed? It's starting to right now, but as you're planning for your Wi-Fi network and your wireless network, we all should be planning for not today. We should be planning for the tomorrows. And when we say tomorrows, we're talking 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 years from now. We should be making sure that the network is as strong and as reliable as it was that time ago. So just as a little difference, some people will go, well, what's the difference between Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7? Should I just go to Wi-Fi 6 maybe? Maybe you're already on Wi-Fi 6 or maybe you're on Wi-Fi 5. Hopefully no one's slower than Wi-Fi 5 right now. But here's some key differences between Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7. And this is where I like to make the case that if you're on Wi-Fi 5, you should maybe skip Wi-Fi 6 and go to Wi-Fi 7 because of these things right here. Right, maximum speed, we can just easily clearly see right here going from 9.6 to 46 gigabytes per second. Crazy fast. We see, the 2.45 and 6 gigahertz band with the Wi-Fi 6E, and now we're also seeing an extended 7.25 gigahertz with Wi-Fi 7. We're seeing more channel width, and QAM is 4 times better. We see MIMO is going to be better. Just guys, this is not just a small jump going from Wi-Fi 6 to Wi-Fi 7, but a significant increase in technology and an increase in performance and speed. And the nice thing is guys, Wi-Fi 7 is designed to work with older Wi-Fi standards like Wi-Fi 6 and 5 and even 4. So older devices still can connect to Wi-Fi 7 networks, though without maybe the speed enhancements. It will work and just fine. You just maybe aren't going to see the speed bump like you would if they were Wi-Fi 7 devices. There's also some of the key kind of cool things that are going on with Wi-Fi 7 with some really cutting edge technology and some things that came out. So let's talk about multi-link operation, or MLO is what some people will refer to as. Previous Wi-Fi, like the 2.4 and the 5 and the 6 gigahertz channel. Well, when a router would put you on a channel, it would put you on one of those channels that's best suitable for the device. So it would throw you on the 2.4 automatically. It would throw you on the 5 or the 6 gigahertz band. But with MLO, or multi-link operation, it combines frequencies into a single connection using those different bands simultaneously, which is so crazy to think that now you can be on the 5 and the 6 at the same time. And that just opens up, as you can imagine. Oh, let me see. Sorry, guys, here. That just opens up a whole plethora of speed and throughput and devices that are going to be connected to it. The next one is going to be preamble puncturing. Some people also call it multi-resource units, but with this one, with older Wi-Fi versions like Wi-Fi 6 and 6E, when part of a channel is being used by another device, actually that entire channel becomes unavailable. And your device will then need to find another channel to transmit the data. But with preamble puncturing and multi-RU, or multi-resource units, Wi-Fi 7 can use the other parts of that same high-speed channel that are not in use. So the best way that I like to think about this is like a train, and if one train is on the track, with older Wi-Fi 6 and 6E, that whole track was like, hey, nothing can go on this track because there's already a train on it. So find another train track to get on. Well, with this new technology, now you can have multi-trains or multiple trains on a single railroad, which is like, oh, wow, then more devices can be on that same channel without causing congestion. Super awesome there. And then another last little things that it is the higher bandwidth, of course. This can get kind of really technical, but like the 2.4, here's some numbers for you. 2.4 comprises of 11 channels at 20 megahertz, right? And the Wi-Fi 5, you can have channels that are, up to 80 megahertz on the channels. And then 6 can go up to 160 megahertz. But Wi-Fi 7 doubles this. You can see 320 megahertz wide. And essentially, guys, the wider the channel, the more data or the more traffic it can comfortably carry and transmit. So again, super, super big changes when it comes time to Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7. Now, knowing that information, let's talk about the Orbi experience. Now for this presentation, we're just going to kind of be looking at the Orbi as a whole. We won't, in this presentation, we won't dive into really go into specific products. That will be probably on a future presentation that we'll dive into all the nitty gritties on the individual ones. But right now we've got these three. We've got the 770, the 870, and the 970 as far as the Wi-Fi mesh systems that are available. And it's awesome because for the first time ever, Microcom, because of how big of a partner and how big of a relationship that they have with Netgear, we have decided to open our Wi-Fi or Orbi channel that used to be strictly just for Netgear. We decided to open it and allow Netgear to get some really screaming good pricing and some really good deals. So definitely check them out. They have pricing on all of these, and yeah, I think you're going to like what you see as we kind of talk about and move forward with them. Some of the big things that's so awesome about the Orbi that I just absolutely love, that just stands out, is it really unleashes the power of 10 gig. Right here, as you can see here, this is a 10 gig WAN port. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know of any internet provider that's offering 10 gig, or, and you may know of a few, but it's really not common, right? 1 gig, maybe multi-gig. I myself, in my area, we have AT&T fiber available in our area, and in our fiber area, they go up to 5 gig, which is just blazing fast. And many people are like, you have just no need, especially for a consumer, maybe don't have that need for that fast. But for businesses, it's a different story. And, this 10 gig Ethernet port allows you to future-proof. So if you don't have 10 gig today, well, that's okay. But imagine in 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now, is 10 gig going to be a standard that's going to be being delivered to business addresses? Probably. It's definitely likely. And not only does this have a 10 gig Ethernet port for the WAN side, but a 10 gig LAN port or local traffic. Now that's also great too, because you sometimes will see a 10 gig Ethernet port, and then you got a router that has either 1 gig across all the other channels, and you're like, how am I really going to be able to utilize it? All my traffic coming back to the routers all at 1 gig? Well, not anymore. This is built for your 10 gig backbone. But what it looks like on the back of it, here's what a good example of what the Orbi looks like. This is just one of them, but they all are going to have the same ports. You're going to have a 10 gig on the router. You're going to have a 10 gig WAN port for your internet provider. Then you're going to have a 10 gig Ethernet port that's going to come to the local traffic. And then there's also going to be 4 2.5 gig Ethernet ports. So if you're like, maybe I don't have any 10 gig right now, but you want to use multi-gig feature, go for it. And use these 4 gig, 2.5 gig or multi-gig Ethernet ports. And then on a satellite, again, there's your 10 gig Ethernet port, and then 2.5 gig Ethernet ports on the LAN side. Super awesome, guys. Really designed to be able to have maximum throughput for you guys' network. Now, also another great and awesome, fantastic thing is, guys, is Orbi is designed, again, going back to the very beginning, what makes Netgear different, one of the things that we want to be different is we want to be easy to use. And that's where this Orbi comes into play. Orbi has a free app that you can install on your Android and iOS devices. And super easy to get notified and to look at what's connected and do speed tests and do speed or even do troubleshooting, all this kind of good stuff. Get notifications when devices connect. And this is where really I think MSPs love the Orbi, because the Orbi app really just, since it makes it so easy to install and activate the mesh network, it takes minutes. You don't need to send a level 3 technician. This is something that you can easily say, hey, go ahead and just plug in and we can fire it up and we can take care of it from there. And you can easily check and manage the entire network wherever you are. And another good thing is Orbi works with any internet provider. We just say, now this does have a built-in firewall on it. It's just going to be your standard firewall, nothing crazy. But if the business or the company wants to have their own firewall, maybe like a Fortinet or something like that, go for it. Throw something in there and throw a firewall in there, and then give us the clean water, and you can let this handle all the traffic and all the routing from there. But yeah, compatible with every internet provider, so there's no need to worry about the compatibility issue, and then we'll work with any firewall that you want to throw in with it. Like I said, we're not going to dive too much into the differences of these three. This is about as high level as I want to get when we're talking about the differences. But we've got the 7 series, the 8 series, and the 9 series. And basically, this is going to be, I don't even like to say good, better, best, because these are all just some and fantastic. Great, greater, greatest, maybe is what is what I could throw there. But yes, the 7 series, up to 11 gigs with up to 100 devices connected to it. And you've got 150 devices on the 8 series, and then the 9 series, you've got up to 200 devices with faster speeds. Now, another great and awesome, fantastic thing is this is scalable. All right, let's say if you're not certain about how many, or maybe you're putting them into a building, and that they may be growing into the building and adding more and more, maybe more floors, or you're going deeper into the building, and you may need to expand the Wi-Fi in the future. Not a problem, guys. Not a problem at all. You can have up to 6 of the satellites connected, and each satellite should do, depending on which one that you go with, but generally about 25 to 2,000 to 3,000 square feet of coverage is probably a good estimate for what if you want to put these in, like especially like these ones. These will do a little more than 3,000, but each one will do approximately 3,000 square feet of coverage. So keep that in the back of the mind whenever you want to throw in. If you want to throw in another satellite, just buy another satellite and throw it in. But if you've got a total of 6 satellites plus 7 plus the router, that's 21,000 square feet of coverage, guys, plus possibly more. These are just rough numbers. They're just estimations provided on a standard business, standard sheetrock walls. Of course, when you introduce concrete, brick, stone, metal, those type of factors, that can hamper the Wi-Fi a bit more, and vice versa. When you have a really open area, you can probably even get more square feet of coverage. But you grow as needed and throw in more access points. That's another super awesome thing with these guys as well, is like I had mentioned before, it doesn't require, although it has a 10 gigabit Ethernet port, if you want to hardwire it in, absolutely go for it. But it doesn't require a 10 gig backbone or for you to hardwire and run cable. We all know how much we love to wire cable. It's like we want to do as badly as we need a hole in the head. So we made it so with the Orbi, it's just a click of a button to sync up to each other. As the router is set up, once the router is plugged in and up and running, you have a satellite that you want to connect, you'll click the sync button on the back of the router, and then you'll click the sync button on the access point or the satellite. And in that case, that'll just automatically sync up, connect, and say, great, and we're done. And then you go and you can do it to another one. And again, up to 6. So very easy, guys, to set up, and with wire-free, hassle-free. That's why I was saying it doesn't take a whole lot to get this network running. You don't have to send out a level 3 tech to get it going. Super simple and super easy. Well, guys, and that's about it as far as the in-depth that we're going to go. We're not going to go into too much depth. That's going to be saving for another presentation. So be on the lookout with Microcom, as another presentation might be coming out as we dive more in depth with the 7, the 8, and the 9 series, and all the technical features and all the good stuff. If you want to go to that one, be on the lookout. That should be coming in. Hopefully we'll see me, Julie. Maybe we were just kind of talking a little bit before, maybe sometime in June or July. We'll keep you guys updated. I'm sure Julie will do a great job of sending that notification out. But Julie, that's a wrap for me. If we want to open up to any of the questions that maybe had came in while I was doing it, I'm good to go.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Yes, I do have some questions here. Appreciate it. Let's get started with the first one. Let's see here. Can you tell us, does the newest Orbi support Wi-Fi 6E?
So yep, it sure does. All of our Orbis will support Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6, and 6E. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you. Next question here. Can one use multiple Orbi satellites with a single router?
100%. Absolutely. Up to 6 satellites you can use for one router.
Excellent.
Now,
Thank
you. I will say there real quick, I'll add something to that. Sorry. That 6 number satellite isn't necessarily a hard line. just as you're adding more and more satellites, that's just more and more hops for the data to get through, especially if you're farther away from the router. So if you're really far from the router and you need to go through 6 satellites, that's going to be after 6, it's just kind of gets a lot for any network to be able to handle that all wirelessly. And so while that 6 number is not a hard line, that's the number that we felt confident in kind of saying and publishing. Some people have gone away with 7 and 8 and been fine. So just keep that in mind. But up to 6.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jordan. Next question here. Does Orbi work with an existing modem, or does one have to have a specific model?
Yeah, we will. If you have any modem, we will work with any modem out there. As long as it's not just a modem and a router combo, that's where you can kind of get into some trouble, because there's basically 2 routers on the network. So as long as it's just a modem, we'll work with any modem. It's recommended that you use DOCSIS 3.1. That's way capable of handling the faster speeds. But yes, we will work with just about everything. There's not a modem that I know of that we don't work with. So confidently saying we work with every internet provider and every modem out there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jordan. Couple more questions still here. Does Orbi support QoS, quality of service, for prioritizing devices?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the answer to that would be no. The Orbi right now, it's kind of in a funny class of its own, because it's sometimes you'll see Orbi marketed as a home product, but then it's very common for people to be using this in dentist's office and tax accounting offices, and just something where they just need solid Wi-Fi. So it doesn't allow you to get into the nitty-gritty of QoS or VLANs kind of setting up. We do have a different product category of that, and that's kind of more of our Insight route, which we've talked about in the past. If you haven't heard of it or seen it, then go to Microcom's YouTube site and you can check it out there. I did a presentation. I feel like I talked about Insight quite a bit, but there's definitely some presentations on there that talk about the Insight. So short answer, I guess, would be not with the Orbi, but with Insight we do.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jordan. Next question. Are there any placement tips for optimizing Orbi satellite performance?
Yeah, that's another great question. As you're going and setting up the Orbi satellite, it will tell you when you're connected how strong or how great the signal strength is. And so that'll give you an idea of, are you pushing it out a little bit farther, or do you need a little bit closer? Another good advice to do is, I've seen a lot of people set up their router. They'll take their phone and they'll connect their phone to the router wirelessly, and then as they walk throughout the area that they're wanting to cover, they'll start to see, well, when did I drop to 2 bars? And I've dropped down to 2 bars on Wi-Fi, or 3 bars, and they'll say this would be a good spot to put it. Don't put it when it gets to 1, or if it's on the edge of losing it. Put it in an age where it still can broadcast it about no less than 2 bars. So a couple ways to do it, but yep, there's definitely ways that you can do it, either through the Orbi or through like your cell phone, like I just mentioned.
Thank you so much for that, Jordan. Last question here for you. Can we recommend, or can anyone go to your website to read all about the Orbi Wi-Fi mesh products?
I mean, 100%, absolutely. You go to netgear.com, and then there's on the wireless solution, there's Orbi, and you can click on that and see these Orbis. But I would strongly recommend too, when it comes time to buying, take a look and always check with Microcom first when it comes time to buying, because even if we sell on our website, it's very possible and highly likely that Microcom is able to even beat the pricing there. So be on the lookout for Microcom.
Thank you so much, Jordan, for answering all of those questions for us today. And thank you to everyone for attending our webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown today, please remember that this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so we can all view it again. Jordan, thank you for your time. Great information. Greatly appreciate it. And until next time, everybody have a fantastic day.
Thank you, everybody.
Welcome, Jordan. Bye-bye.
Bye, Julie.